We continue now at the top of Daf Samach Aleph Amud Aleph and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 61a. This is the beginning of the fourth parak of Meseches Bava Basra. This daf is sponsored by David Grossman. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you'd like to sponsor an Amud or a daf, see the description box below, and see the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And the parak begins with the Mishnah Hamocher Sabayis. If somebody sells a house, Lo Machar Yitzi, he doesn't necessarily sell the Yitzia along with it. Yitzia can be translated in different ways. We'll translate it as a gallery or a side room. Even though it opens up into the house, it's not included in the sale. Also, he doesn't sell the room that is behind the house. Also, that's not included in the sale. And also not included in the sale is the roof. And it's in a circumstance where it has a fence that's 10 tvachim high, then the roof is considered separate. Rabbi Yehuda says, if the roof has a tzuras HaPesach, which essentially is the frame of a door, it's two poles on the side and then one pole up above the frame of a door, even if it's not, if the fence is not 10 tvachim high, Eino mocher, still the roof is not sold along with the house. And the Rashbam explains, Hamocher Sabayis Stam. The case over here is a person just sells a house Stam. He doesn't have any details of what's included, what's not included. And so it says in the Mishnah that the Yitzia is not included. HaYitzia b'Gemar Mefarish. The Gemara will explain what exactly is Yitzia. Ve'eno bechlal bayis. It's not included in the house. Aval pisha pasuach hayitzia lesocho shel bayis. Even though it opens into the house. The eagle amemar dekeven de tashmisho lebayis machram bayis. You could say, since it serves the house, it should be sold together with the house. It's not true. Afilu hachi, nevertheless, no machar. It's not included in the sale. And also not the room, even though it's within the house, so to speak, and it opens into the house. The people who are in that cheder, they walk into the house. Since the use of that room is not the same as the house, if this cheder is made essentially for storage of his objects, of his items, it's a place where you're guarding it, and so therefore it's a place for storage. It's not included in the house. Bizman sheyesh lo makah, and then it said that when it comes to the roof, if it has a makah, it's not included havechasha b'fnei atzma because it's considered important on its own. V'lo batal agav bayis, it's not essentially batal, nullified to the house as a part of the house. It is considered to be separate. And the Gemara says, Ma yitzia, what does it mean yitzia? Hacha targimu, here they translate it as afta. And the Rashbam says, after is binyan namuch eitzel habayis. It's a small building near the house, or a small structure near the house. Mitzido or me'achorov. It could be at the side of the house, or it could be behind the house. So that's the first opinion. Hacha targimu after. And Rav Yosef says it's badka chalila. And the Rashbam says on Badka Chalila, Iyunami come in after. That's also like an after. Samach Labais, it's a structure near the house. Chalonos Lanoi. The only difference is that it's got a lot of windows. Behind Lashon Chalila, that's the language of Chalila. Al Shem Sheksolav Cholol Kol Sevivea, because the walls have windows all throughout. Vasi Chalonos came near Beinai. That's what the Rashbam's opinion is. And so you have two opinions again. What is this Yitzia? And the Gemara explains, Laman Damar after. Now the one who says that a Yitzia is an after, Lo Mizdavna. So if the after is not sold along with the house, Kol Shekain Bad Kachalila Lo Mizdavna. Certainly the Bad Kachalila will not be sold along to the house. That's even less a part of the house. And the Rashbam says, Kol shekain bad kachalila de'eno mocher. Certainly the bad kachalila is not included in the sale. De'en tashmisho domula tashmisho shal bayis klal. That's not, the usage of the bad kachalila is not similar to the house at all. Sharei lanoi also, that's made just for beauty. Well, haker sham, it's made to be a place where you're gonna cool off over there. And so therefore, that's obvious that would not be included in the sale. But lemandam bad kachalila, but according to the one who says that the yitzia is the bad kachalila, that's Rav Yosef, so aval after mizdavna. So according to that opinion, the after really is, the usage is a little more like a house, so that would be sold together with the house. And the Rashbam says, aval after shu sosum kebayis dami tashmishu letashmish debayis. So the after is a place that's closed off like a house, so its usage is similar to the usage of the house. Today it's more similar. So therefore it would be sold along with the house. And the Gemara continues, Tani Rav Yosef taught, Shalosh Shemos Yeshlo, there are three names for Yitzia, and the three names are Yitzia, Tzela, and Ta. Those are the three names. Yitzia Dechsiv, Yitzia is like it's written in the Pasuk, HaYitzia HaTachtona, Chamesh Ba'ama Rachva. It says the lower Yitzia was 5 amos wide. Tzela Dechsiv, the word Tzela, it's written in the Pasuk, Vatzlos, Tzela, Tzela, Shalosh Shloshim Pam, it says 33 times. The Tzelos, again, referring to this kind of a structure. And Ta, and it can also be referred to as a Ta. Dechsiv, as it's written in the Pasuk, pasuk v'hata kana echad orech v'kana echad rochev uvein hataim chamesh amos, describing the exact measurements of the ta. And so you have different names for the same idea, these same kind of structures. And the Gemara continues by saying, if you want, I could say mehacha from here, a different pasuk. The pasuk says kosel hahechol sheish v'hata sheish. Kosel hata chamesh uses the word ta again for a similar kind of structure. And we should note that this last source is not a pasuk, but rather comes from the Mishnah in Meseches Midos. And the Gemara continues, Amar Marzutra says, V'hu dahava arba amas. When we say that this Yitzia is not sold together with the house, it has to be at least 4 amos. Amar le Ravina le Marzutra, Ravina said to Marzutra, L'didach, according to you, the Amrita dahava arba amos, you say that it has to be 4 amos, so that it's a chosh of a place, and therefore it's considered independent, it's not sold together with the house. So if you're going to say that, elameata, but according to that, gabe bor, what about when it comes to a pit? The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah, loes habor veloes hados, it says that when you're selling the house, it doesn't necessarily include in the sale the pit or the cistern, afa pishakasav lo umka veruma, even though when he sold the house, he said, I'm selling you the house and the depths and the height of the house, still that doesn't include the bor and dos. Hachinami, you're going to say the same thing over there, you have arba amos ini lo, it's only going to not include if it's 4 amos, but if it's not 4 amos, you're going to say it is included. Would that really be true? And the Gemara says you can't compare the two. Hachi hashta, what kind of comparison are you making? Hasam over there, when you're talking about the bor and the dos, hatashmishta lechud v'hatashmishta lechud, they're totally different usages, and therefore for sure it's never going to be included regardless of whether it's 4 amos or not. But over here, when we're talking about the yitzia, idi v'idi chad tashmishta, it's all really the same basic use. You have a dalet amos choshev, if it's 4 amos, it's considered choshev, it's independent, v'lo lo choshev, and if it's not considered so important, and therefore it's not independent. And the Gemara continues with the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, it said the room that is within or behind, that's also not included in the sale. And the Gemara says, Hashta Yitzia lo mizdavin. Now, if the Yitzia is not sold along with the house, Cheder miboy, do we even need to say that that room is not sold with the house? That seems to be obvious. And the Rashbam explains, in the case of the bor and the dos, even if he writes to him, I'm selling you this house, its depths and its height, all that includes is it's including the upper floors, the fenced-in area of the roof, and the floor of the house. That if the seller wants to dig under the house, so the buyer can prevent him from doing so. That's all it means when you write in there, and ruma, but it doesn't include the bor and the dos, and it doesn't include the pit and the cistern. But then the Gemara said, are you going to say that it's only if it's 4 amos? Are you going to say by the bor and the dos only if it's 4 amos? It's not included in the sale. Vilo, and if not, it's not considered important on its own, and it would be sold with the house. Are you going to say that over there? Bitmia, the Gemara is asking that in wonder. Is that really possible? But in general, a bor is not 4 amos rochav. It's not 4 amos wide. The bor cuts through because a bor is very narrow, so you can't say that. And so the Gemara then answered, bor v'dos tashmishta l'chud, a bor and a dos, they have a totally different usage. Sha'amukim heim, they're deep, v'tashmishta l'mayim, they're made to be used with water. Ubayis tashmishta l'chud, and the house has its own use. Lafika cheino b'chlal bayis, therefore it's obvious, no matter what the size is, that the bor and the dos are not included within the house. Afagav delo have a dalet amos, even though they're not dalet amos. Aval yitziu bayis choda tashmishta have it, but the yitzia and the bayis really have one same basic use, whom mokum dira, it's all a place where you're going to live essentially, and so therefore that's why you cannot compare the two. And then the Gemara said, Hashta Yitzia Shatashmishta Shavala Gamri Lashal Bayis. If a Yitzia which has almost the exact same use as a house, Amrit Lo Mizdavin Lahade Bayis, you're saying it's not sold together with the house. So Cheder Ha'asei Lashmiras Bamona, this room that is just made for protection, for storage, Vein Doma Hatashmish Lashal Bayis, it's not similar at all to the use of the house, or it's not similar to the use of the house. Lokal Shakain says certainly that's not included. Vamai Isrich Lemahadr Lemisne. Why does the Mishnah even need to teach that? And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samech Aleph Amud Beis.